Morning beeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Let's have a look and see what there is to talk about today. Let's start here. Eddie Hearn hopes to have 3 or 4 big arena or stadium fights in the UK in 2024. Good. And that's important as well. There's been a lot of talk, and not good talk, about all the big fights going to Saudi Arabia. So it's good to hear that we are going to see some of those big fights over here. Of those fights, you're thinking 3 or 4. Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor, we'll talk about that one. That's a big arena fight. There's talk about it going to the First Direct. I think it could go bigger. The First Direct, I think, is 13,500. I think it could go to the AO Arena, which I think is 20 or 21. But yeah, that's one. Leewood, Josh Warrington. I don't think it's going to happen at the City Ground, but if it's an arena, again, that's another big one. What else could he be thinking? Conor Ben versus ? If it's Eubank, that's probably where he's thinking stadium. If it's someone else, arena, obviously providing that Conor Ben gets his license back. And I can't think of a fourth. I don't expect AJ to fight here again, if I'm honest with you, which is a shame. Like AJ versus Fury, I know that fight might never happen, but let's just play devil's advocate and say it does. Hypotheticals here. If AJ versus Fury gets done, that should be at Wembley Stadium. Like, no other place on planet Earth should have that fight. And, I mean, look, if AJ gets past Ngannou and Fury gets past Usyk, I know there's a few ifs here, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. That fight should happen at Wembley. It should. It won't, but it should. I did, when I spoke to Eddie and Frank, I did say, look, is there not a chance that you still get the backing of Turkey, His Excellency, but those fights happen over here? Obviously, look, all the fights are going on in Saudi, and I get it, right? I mean, if you are Turkey Al Sheikh and you're putting all that money down, obviously the fight should happen in your country, but surely there is something about that fight and him understanding the importance of that fight happening at Wembley Stadium. Like, it would sell out in seconds. I'm sure you guys know that. It happening in Saudi just isn't right. Look, we'll talk about Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor in a couple of seconds. Austin Williams. I want to fight Erickson Lubin. I'll knock him the fuck out. Austin Williams coming off a good win a couple of weeks back on the undercard of Conor Ben versus Dobson. I want to see Austin Williams now actually fight Hamza Shiraz. That's what I want. In that Queensbury match from 5 versus 5, that's one that I'm desperate to see. 2 guys that are on the cusp of a world title, maybe. I think Ammo's further ahead than Hamza Shiraz, but Hamza Shiraz is catching him quick. I think it's a great fight. Honestly, I think it's a great fight. And how long and rangy Hamza is and how explosive Ammo is, mate, I'd make Ammo a favourite but it won't be easy. Eddie Hearn, Tank versus Ben, not really a fight that I anticipated, but I think it's a fight that can happen. This goes back, I guess, to those arena or stadium fights, although if Ben versus Tank were to be made, it's going to happen in Vegas, right? It's never going to happen over here. Maybe Saudi, who knows? Look, when I spoke about this fight a few weeks back and I said 10% or 20% chance, mate, this isn't going away. And a few American boxing people are starting to speak about it as well as something that realistically could happen. Again, I go to the point of who is Gervonta fighting? Who's he fighting? Like, who's out there? I mean, really and truly, it should be easy. It should be Shakur Stevenson. It should be easy. Like, oh, he's fighting Shakur, right? Both 135-pounders, both maybe number 1 and number 2 in the division. You could make an argument, right? That should be it. For some reason, that's not even being discussed, which is so weird for me. Like, I think you could co-promote this one. I think you could, like we saw with Gervonta and Ryan, right? A co-promotion with PBC, Al Heyman, DAZN, Matchroom, etc. You could do the same thing, surely. PBC, Amazon, maybe, I don't know, Top Rank, ESPN. It can happen. It can happen. And that's what it should be. But if it's not that, then there are going to be question marks as to who it will be. For some reason, a lot of people think that Tank versus Ben is a very big fight that makes a lot of money. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure. There seems to be some interest. I guess if the fight were to be made, both fighters will sell it quite well. I still think it's a bit strange to see Gervonta go up to 147. Like, he's going to be severely undersized. But look, we'll get into it when more happens. For now, it's just internet talk and paper talk. Tim Tszyu on Keith Thurman. The guy doesn't think before he speaks. He's just a little yapper. Some people think that Keith Thurman's going to win. I still would put every penny I have on Tim Tszyu beating Keith Thurman. This is not disrespecting Keith, but he is inactive, and that's an understatement. And Tim Tszyu is active and bigger and strong, and maybe the best 154 pounder out there right now. Maybe he's jumped over Jamel Charlo. Maybe. That's the fight that should really happen, but who knows? Andy Cruz feels that Keyshawn Davis fight is inevitable. That fight is going to happen down the road. Should happen. Has to happen. Two guys that will no doubt in the next year or so be right up there at 135 pounds. I think Eddie said this. Eddie said he would put Andy Cruz in with any 135er. And with someone that's got his amateur experience, all you're looking at really is just kind of navigating the rounds as a pro. Obviously, going 12 and 10 is completely different from what you're doing as an amateur. So once he gets 10 and 12 under his belt, he's good to go. So, I expect to see this fight happen. Hopefully, both fighters can make a bit of money doing it. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but massive fan of both of them. All right, let's talk about a fight that looks like it's going to be announced in the next couple of days. A lot of people started to speak about it on social media. Mike Coppinger, I think, was the first person to report it, and that's that we are going to see Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall 2 finally. This fight happened 2 years ago. There have been talks about this fight potentially happening in April. If that does happen in April, it's a busy few moments for DAZN. It really is. I mean, obviously, look, we got Ngannou, AJ coming up, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia coming up. So many other small ones in between. I'm just talking the big ones now. What else could we have? What else is coming up? May 18th. Let's not forget that as well. DAZN will be a part of that broadcast for Fury versus Usyk. I'm trying to think of the big ones. Dalton Smith versus Zepeda, which for me is a big fight over here. Zelfa Barrett versus Jordan Gill. There's some good fights, right? Some really big ones and some medium-sized ones, but it's a consistent run now. But this for me is a big one. I spoke about this a few weeks back, didn't I? And I said, look, I was upset of the idea of Sky getting it, with DAZN not thinking that this fight was a big fight. At the time, I said DAZN weren't thinking it was a pay-per-view because I thought Sky were going to chuck it on pay-per-view. This is not a pay-per-view fight, which I think is fantastic. This might be the biggest W for DAZN over here for a long time. I'm always on social media, on Twitter, and looking at the responses. And I think as soon as people, at least, again, we don't know this, hopefully it's the case, but as soon as people found out it wasn't pay-per-view, the responses were all positive. Like, this is a big W for DAZN. Even people that don't necessarily like Matchroom DAZN were like, okay, W. Like, thumbs up, this is a good one. And I love this fight. I do think this fight is going to catch fire immediately the first presser happens. Like, immediately. Sam Jones, who's obviously Jack Catterall's manager, is going to attack Josh Taylor immediately. And sometimes you need a manager like Sam Jones to sell a fight for you. Similar to the way Tunde sells it for Anthony Yarde. Sam Jones does that for Jack Catterall. He's a fantastic character. Love Sam, speak to him quite a lot. This fight is going to be super competitive. Super. I still feel like there's a lot to offer from Josh Taylor. And I've been lucky enough to be ringside for Jack Catterall's last two fights against Dara Foley and Jorge Linares. And he's a puzzle. He is very, very difficult to work out. Maybe doesn't engage as much as we want, but in terms of trying to solve that Jack Catterall puzzle, ain't easy. Like, my appreciation being ringside and watching him has gone up. Like, maybe when you're watching it at home, you don't really see the brilliance and what he does, but you're watching it ringside and you're like, fuck, this isn't going to be easy. And that's for those people that are saying Josh Taylor's washed. I mean, we do this so quick in boxing, don't we? A couple of years ago, Josh Taylor was undisputed, pound for pound, top 6, top 7 maybe. And potentially we were talking about him going up to 147 and fighting Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. A couple of, I'll say 2 defeats. One recorded defeat and one defeat, and he's done. And I'm not having that. I'm not having that. Again, if he did lose to Jack, and I think he did, Jack's difficult. And he lost to Teofimo Lopez, who, up until 5 days ago, was the best 140 pounder on the planet. That's his defeats. He's not washed. Certainly not washed. My one concern for him is the weight. That's my only concern. I mean, he said the weight was tight 2 years ago when he fought Jack. I mean, surely the weight's tight now. And let's hope that he lives the life in between camps, because if you don't live the life in between camps and you're trying to make 140, good luck. Good fucking luck. But look, I'm excited the fight's going to happen. I'm not quite sure if I'm doing the face-off. There will definitely be a face-off. But even if I'm not, whoever's doing it's going to have an easy job, because you literally just have to sit back, say the first question, they're going to fucking go at each other all night. Honestly, normally when you do these face-offs, you're trying to do a 30-minute. In your head, you're trying to do 30 minutes because you know that they edit it to be around 20 minutes. And it's quite a slog getting to those 30 minutes because you're not getting much from fighters. These two, you're literally going to say the first question and then sit back and let them go at each other 30 minutes because they will attack each other. And like I said at the top, I think if they are going to the first direct, I think they can go bigger. I think, the AO Arena is 20,000, isn't it? Let's have a quick look. I mean, with these things, you're looking at, is any concerts there at the time? It's not that easy just to pick a venue and say, we'll go for that one. Yeah, AO Arena, 21,000. This can 100%, I think, do 21,000. 100%. Even if you're cautious, 17, 18. Because again, I feel like if you do a couple of press conferences for it, you do one in London, you do one potentially in Manchester, maybe even Scotland, right? And then you do the face-off. Sam Jones will sell this. Eddie will sell this. The fighters will sell this. This is a massive, massive fight. And I think, again, big W to everyone involved that this isn't on pay-per-view. Because I'm guessing if it isn't, the fighters might have had to take a little hit as well. They might have had to take a little hit. You put it on pay-per-view, you're almost guaranteeing the fighters a bit more money. But look, I think it's a good one for DAZN. I'm excited for it as well. I would have been excited wherever this fight was made, but the fact that I'm now working on it is exciting because you want to be. I've gone to venues, and I know not every fight can be sold out, but I'm a fight fan first and foremost. And when you are doing some of these fights and you're seeing blacked out curtains and they're not selling, you can get a bit dispirited. When you're in arenas which are full, there's nothing more exciting. Honestly, there's nothing more exciting. I'll always go back to fucking Lee Wood, Michael Conlon. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's move on. The Canelo slander. Slander or slander? Canelo slander. Depends what country you're in, right? I'm not having it. I'm sorry, people. I am not Canelo's biggest fan, but the hate this man seems to be getting for a non-announcement, by the way, he hasn't announced who he's going to fight yet, is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. I'm sorry, it's a disgrace. This man, I would never say a boxer can do anything once they've ticked certain boxes, because you still want to see your favorite fighter have, and he's not my favorite fighter, but you still want to see a fighter take on all comers, right? That's what you want to see. So in an ideal world, yes, I'm like you guys. I want to see Canelo take on David Benavidez. That's the one you want to see. He is the next best, right? The next up at 168 pounds. That's what I want to see. But I'm still not going to shoot Canelo down if he doesn't pick Benavidez. It won't happen. And there's a few reasons why it won't happen. First and foremost, this guy's been doing this since 2005. Canelo's been boxing professionally for nearly 20 years. You know how insane that is? He's first put on the gloves to fight professionally at the age of 14. Go and check it. No bullshit. That's what he did. He has had some incredible fights, and his CV is a who's who of the world of boxing. A who's who. His list of fights are ridiculous. So I don't know if I can attack someone that's given me so much. Canelo, over the last 10 years, has guaranteed me, Ade, and you, fight fans, at least 2 fights a year. Guaranteed. Even through operations. He has guaranteed us 2 fights a year. Look, yes, there have been a couple of gimmies in there. Name your favorite fighter that's not fought gimmies. It's impossible. Everyone has. It's just the way the sport works, right? Go back in history. Go to your favorite fighter in history. Everyone's fought a couple of duds. It's just the way it is. I do not like it, but it's the way it is. But I can't critique someone that's done as much as he's done when all the fighters of today, I say all, 90% of the fighters of today ain't giving us what we want. And I'm talking fighters in their peak, fresh, ready to go, young, maybe giving us one fight every year, maybe, if we're lucky. And we're critiquing Canelo, who has guaranteed us 2 fights a year, and he's not fighting scrubs. There are no scrubs in there. Even John Ryder's not a scrub. Is John Ryder elite? No. Scrub? No. Not having it. Not having it. And it's funny, I tweeted this. The fact that Canelo is going to fight both Charlos back to back, and he's getting a lot of critique for it, isn't Canelo's fault, it's the Charlo's fault. It's both of them. The fact that they've fallen off so much that we're upset with these matchups is against them. Against them. Because both of those guys have been talking smack about Canelo for years. You can just type it in. Charlo talking shit about Canelo for years. And he's like, okay, line them up. You've been talking smack about me? Line them up. And both of them have always said, we'll go up and wait. I've seen it. I've watched interviews. We'll go up and wait. So he's now fighting them and he's getting stick for it. He's getting stick. Again, no, understand what I'm saying. Do I want to see Canelo versus David Benavidez? Yes. Would I like to see Canelo versus Munguia? Yes. There are others out there. David Morrell? Yes. Mbili? Yes. Of course I would. But I'm not going to slander the man who's been doing this for the best part of 20 years and has given me great fights in those 20 years when other fighters today in their peak ain't giving me shit. I'm just not going to. I'm not going to. He's almost earned the right, unfortunately, it's true, earned the right to do what he wants to do. He's earned the right to do what he wants to do, whether we like it or not. It's fact. It is. Let Benavidez fight David Morrell. Let Benavidez fight Munguia. Let Munguia fight Berlanga if he comes through Macquarie. Let those fights happen. Let those fights happen. Again, I will say this because you guys are going to come for me. I want to see Canelo versus Benavidez. I want to see that. But I also understand that Canelo is probably doing what Floyd did. When Floyd hit that 33-34 mark, go and check it. Like towards the end of his career, yeah. Look, by the way, this is no Floyd slander. I'm just saying what fighters do. Not every fighter is Manny Pacquiao and Bernard Hopkins who are going to fucking go right to the end and fight killers. Not every fighter does that. If you watch the sport for as long as I've watched it, you know that's just not what happens, right? Go and look at what Floyd did. So Floyd, towards the end of his career, gave us Victor Ortiz when we didn't want it. Gave us Guerrero when we fucking certainly didn't want it. I'll be honest with you, we didn't even want Maidana. I remember at the time there was a poll that Floyd did and it was Maidana Khan. Khan won that poll with a landslide. We wanted Amir Khan. Not saying Amir Khan would have caused him any problems because Maidana did in the end. We weren't asking for Maidana, right? So he fought Guerrero, he fought Ortiz, he fought Maidana, and he fought Andre Berto. What? We didn't ask for those fucking fights. Albeit, he did fight Canelo in between that. I will say that. But you can see what I'm trying to say. Even the best, one of the GOATs, TBE, towards the end of his career, gave us bullshit. Gave us fucking bullshit. So that's what they do. That's what they do. And look, I don't think Jamal Charlo's on Canelo's level at the moment. Jamal Charlo's been out the ring for so long. Some of you will say he's never fought a super middleweight. His last fight kind of was, because as soon as you weigh in above 160, you're a super middle. But he's no slouch. He's no scrub. I mean, he's not fucking Rocky Fielding. He's not Avni Yildirim. He's still an unbeaten WBC 160-pound champion. Lay off Canelo, please. Lay off him. We'll see what happens anyway. Look, he hasn't even announced it. I would love him to do a surprise and announce Crawford. I think he'll even get stick for that, right? Crawford jumping up 20 pounds. He'll get stick for that, but I'd love to see that. Subriel Matthias inks multi-fight. Have I said his name correctly? Matthias, maybe, inks multi-fight co-promotional pact with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom. Woo! Eddie Hearn is signing up all the 140-pounders. All the 140 pounds. There is talk about him versus Liam Parrow. Obviously, Eddie Hearn's he's not really signed Devin Haney, but Devin Haney has a relationship with him. Jack Catterall. I'm guessing for Jack to fight Josh then probably enters into some sort of agreement with the Zone as well. So Eddie's signing a lot of these 140 kids. He's got Regis Prograis as well. The only one he doesn't have really is of note, I'm talking superstars, there is Teofimo. And he will never have Teofimo because Teofimo does not like him. Jesus Christ. Usyk promoter says he would be surprised if Tyson Fury pulls out of May 18th fight. Yeah, Tyson Fury's not pulling out of that fight. No way. Although it's a quick turnaround. To have a cut like that, 12 weeks, it's quick. I mean, in an ideal world, Fury wouldn't really want to fight with that cut until July in an ideal world. But 75 million makes it very unideal, and you just do what you're fucking told to do, and he's been told to fight, so he fights. All right, anything else before we pack up? No, I think that's it. Bomac believes Terence Crawford would beat both Furman and Zoo. I hate when people say this on the same night. Won't happen, and he wouldn't. That's just fact. He wouldn't. No. I mean, Crawford's good, but let's stop being silly now. On the same night. Well, he'll go, let's say he knocks him even both out, but he's trying to say that he goes 8 or 9 rounds with Furman, right? Which ain't going to be easy. You'll beat Furman, but it ain't easy. He's not fucking fighting me, is it? And then chill out for a couple of hours, then beat Sue. Fucking hell, mate. We're making him sound like he's fucking, I don't know, like, not human. Fucking is human. Final one. George Kambosos believes he'll become a Hall of Fame lock with a win over Lomachenko. You know what? Maybe. I mean, Hall of Fame lock, no. Hall of Fame consideration, yeah. I mean, again, win over Teofimo, good. Win over Loma, remember this is a world title fight as well, will be solid. I mean, I hope Loma wins. I'm desperate for Loma to win. Like, if Loma loses, then I know Loma's done. Because I think Loma's still unlucky because of the Devin Haney fight. 35 years old now, Loma. Oh my God, is he? Loma will be 36 in 3 days. He's getting on. I'm so happy that I saw this man at his peak and he was godlike. Absolute godlike. History books won't be good to Loma. They won't be. Was it 3 defeats? It won't be good. Because someone will look at his record, 17-3, 11 knockouts, and think, is this what all the hype was about? The hype was real, people. The hype was real. Peace and love.